The Fargo Five. I'm Conrad Fargo. We are here with Mary Leibel from the Love Bug Farm. Hello, Mary.
Hello.
Was it libel or liable?
Libel.
Libel, like the crime.
Libel.
Like the crime. And you married into that name.
Yep.
So you were saying it took you a while to work that one out. Okay. So you are from the Love Bug Farm. You live in Moorhead, Minnesota.
Yes.
That's 56560. So I don't think a lot of people know or understand 56560 is a big area, right?
Yep, we're closer to Comstock than we are to Moorhead, but we're just a South Moorhead address.
Well, because in the Fargo area, it's we've got 58102, 58103, 58104. We've got lots of zip codes, but for whatever reason, maybe because the population is lower, I don't know how zip codes work.
I don't either.
But they've got you guys all on 56560. It's a big farm though, right? I mean, how many acres?
We have just a little hobby farm. We're 5 acres.
Okay, and that's what you call a hobby farm. I've heard the term.
Yeah, I think hobby farm, just small, not like it's not our profession. So we have chickens, ducks, guineas, geese, and don't ask me how many chickens I have because we have the chicken math where, you just keep adding a few and adding a few. But
when you say it's not your profession, but you're here with your son,
right.
Isaac.
Yep.
And then
Isaac.
You have how many other children?
5.
5 more, or 5 in total?
5 more.
5 more.
Isaac
so you have
is 6.
6 in total?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yep. So our eldest is Reuben, and he is 13 and a half, and he's actually one of the reasons we started the Love Bug Farm.
Wow. Okay. So that's what I want to know more about is how did that idea begin? So did you own the space or you
Yep.
So are you from Moorhead originally?
Zach and I grew up in Fargo, graduated from Fargo South. I met my husband Zach when we were in college in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and then we moved back up here when he got a job as a nurse at Essentia. So we've been here since we were married. So we moved here 18 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so we lived in Fargo, and actually we were looking for little properties outside of town for about 3 years, and then we found our current home in 2020.
And it wasn't a farm at the time.
It was just a little farmhouse. They had a little barn. The people we purchased it from had 6 chickens.
Okay.
And then we just kind of morphed it and kept adding things on. So
where did you guys always want to have all that space on the outside of town, or where did that idea? Because you said you lived in South Fargo.
Yep.
Right. So
for 13 years.
Where in South Fargo did you?
We lived close to Davies before it was developed. Bennett Elementary.
Way out in the suburbs there.
Yep.
It's
way
very
out there.
suburban. Yeah. Well, and so that must have been like a new construction almost.
Yeah, almost.
When you bought it.
We bought it, but 25th was still a gravel road south of us.
Okay.
So like that long ago, 13 years, longer now.
The lots out there are pretty small.
Yep.
So it's like it's a brand new build in a small lot in the suburban developing.
Yep.
It's very, I don't know how to say, like modern out there because it feels, when I go out there, and this, I'm 38, I just turned 38. It feels like going to the cities. It feels like going to Minneapolis. Like to me, just because of the layout and the kind of the sprawl feel, right? Unlike the inner city of the metro.
Right.
So you were living there and you said, where did this idea of we need a different place? Because a big 5-acre hobby, I mean, that's different.
Yeah, my husband's parents live in Leola, South Dakota, and they had gotten chickens. And so when we went to go visit them, we just had a lot of fun feeding their chickens, learning about stuff. We started watching YouTube, like different channels on farming and permaculture and different things. And then actually, as our boys got bigger, we had 2 boys first, Reuben and Judah, we outgrew our yard. Yeah. And so constantly
down in the Davies in the small, that wasn't too hard.
Our front yard was actually bigger than our backyard.
And that's where you were planting.
Yep.
You were one of those guys. So you didn't have a lawn. You had a garden. Your whole front yard was a garden.
Right.
And you're watching YouTube videos on chickens.
Yep.
So a lot of people keep chickens. You can keep them in city limits.
Hens.
And I've heard that it can be quite the rabbit hole. You start with that.
Yep. That's why you have chicken math. That's why I don't know how many chickens I have, because you start out with 6 and then you get 12 more and then, you lose a few and then you buy some more from some people and then you get some new ones, so I'm like, we have over 50 birds.
Wow.
On our property.
And that was still at the Davies property or
no? That was on our farm.
Did you get chickens on the Davies property?
We did not.
Okay.
Nope, we got some ducks that we raised for about a week, and then my in-laws came up and got them.
How does that go? Okay, so ducks are cool, I think. They're like a chicken, though. They have a cloaca, right? right? And they lay eggs. It's
Yep,
like the
they
whole,
lay eggs.
They're very similar, right? I
Yep,
guess.
and then we had Muscovy ducks, so actually they don't quack like others, so they're very, the males hiss.
Oh.
And then they just make little, I can't describe it like a chirpy noise, but they move their heads. And my husband will say ducks are way more fun to watch than chickens.
My family on Thanksgiving, we don't like to do like a big meal. We kind of like to just the 4 of us, the 5 of us. We can't eat a whole turkey.
Yep.
So we started making ducks.
Oh, interesting.
And so that's that's become our tradition. We enjoy the duck, but I've always been curious, and we eat a lot of eggs in my house.
Yep.
Like a lot, like an insane amount of eggs. They're affordable, they're nutritious, they're delicious.
Yep.
Were you eating duck eggs?
We don't, because my children have just a personal aversion to them. So
To duck eggs or eggs?
To duck eggs.
Duck eggs specifically.
We love chicken eggs.
Really?
And my son won't eat a store-bought chicken egg anymore.
So how are they different?
They taste better. If you
The
have
duck eggs are better, but your son won't eat them?
No, the chicken eggs taste better than
do
like
they?
a store-bought
Okay.
one.
Which is why we keep chickens and not ducks.
Yep. So, but I think it's something mentally too, when you're used to eating a chicken egg and then you're like, well, that's a duck egg. You're like, oh no.
How is the taste different?
It's not, they just have more of a yolk and the egg white is thicker. So people actually enjoy using a duck egg to bake because it's full of more fat.
More yolk. That sounds like something
Like
I'd
a bigger yolk and less
boiled
egg
eggs.
white.
So boil. I'll bet you. Did you ever boil them? I'll bet you they're really good.
Yep, that's what my kids would spit out. So we just sell our duck eggs and keep them because they're fun.
You still have ducks?
Yes, we do.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get some. I'm gonna have to buy some duck eggs off you and make some boiled duck eggs.
Yes, and then you can try them and tell us. So.
Oh yeah. Oh man, eggs is a whole thing.
Yep.
Eggs is a whole thing. Okay. So anyway, you're outgrowing. You've got this giant garden. You've got ducks. I'm sure your
and my
neighbors
kids constantly
just love
throw
you.
their football out over the fence, into the alley. So
Of
they're
course.
constantly having to run
Yes.
to get it. So we were outgrowing space-wise for just our land, like just the property that we had.
And you've just been fully radicalized by the YouTube
Yep.
chicken videos anyhow. and you say to yourself, I got to get out of the city.
Yep.
That's
But
basically.
it's hard. I mean, even back when we looked for 3 years.
Yeah.
Trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
find a place, like if you want to free range your chickens, well, if you're too close to a neighbor, what if my chickens go into someone's yard,
Yes.
different factors. And we just, at that time, Zach was still working on the floor and we didn't want to have a super long commute for him. So we just looked for a while and kept looking, and we actually put an offer at one place and it didn't work out. And then we found this place and we just kind of took a leap of faith on it just during the time of life and seasons and stuff that was going on in 2020 that happened. And so, but it worked out and we love it. So it's super awesome and we're so very thankful for it.
And that was how many years ago that you actually closed on it?
So 4 years ago in June. So we've been out there 4
ago.
years.
And what was so you bring everything? Obviously, you can't pick up the garden and bring you bring a bunch of ducks. I'm trying to
we
think.
didn't have our ducks. We gave those to my in-laws. So we had ducks for like a week that we
Oh.
raised. We got baby ducks from someone in the Kmart parking lot. My in-laws came because ducks stink. Like they're stinky animals, so
I'm sure they smell foul.
yes, they do, especially in town. I got that foul.
Yeah. No, I'm okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. So you're moving in. What all comes with you to the hobby farm?
We had 2 dogs, and we had
and how many kids
4
at this?
kids.
4 kids.
Yep.
So 4 kids, 2 dogs,
2 dogs,
big
and all
empty
our
space.
stuff. Yep, and the 6 chickens that came with the property. Yep.
Okay, so the chickens came with it.
Yep,
oh,
they
that's
did.
awesome. And
Yep.
so and then what? And then so how does it? We went from 4 chickens to the Love Bug Farm.
Yeah.
What's the journey like that? How does that go?
So we didn't name our farm actually until this winter.
Oh.
Like we kept thinking of it, but we just tried out different things. We got meat birds right away. We got guineas.
What's a meat bird?
A meat bird, a Cornish cross that you'd buy at the store.
Okay.
So we buy our own chicks, raise them, butcher them,
I see.
and eat them.
Okay.
So my goal is to not buy any chicken from the grocery store.
Yeah.
Not for everyone, like my dad and my sister are like, I like my chicken in plastic in the grocery store. Super cool. That's fine. You don't have to come watch us butcher. We are,
a friend of mine gave us some food from his garden, and I had this reaction where I was like, from your garden? Outside?
Yeah.
Outside with the dirt?
That's where the food grows.
I know, and I'm aware of that. Like, I'm not so ignorant, but like just noticing that reaction inside of me, and like I had to pause and be like, oh no, of course, food comes from outside.
But,
like how you're all turned around.
And when you grow your own stuff, it's not all beautiful.
Yeah.
Stuff
Oh,
is
yeah.
oddly shaped. Sometimes
Sure.
a bug eats it. Sometimes it looks,
Uh-huh.
So once you grow your own stuff, you're like, everything's not perfect.
Yeah.
It grows in a garden. We
Yeah.
eat what comes. So yeah, we just kind of hit the ground running and got a bunch of different birds, geese. So we've been doing that for the last 4 years, just kind of playing when we have them out on our grass in chicken tractors and move them around so they're on fresh grass.
And this is so your husband is out there as a nurse. He's doing that probably more than full time. I mean, the nurses, holy bucket. I know they put in a lot of hours.
So now,
which in their world doesn't mean 40 hours. It means like a million, right?
And,
or how many hours a week is he out there?
Thankfully, he got off the floor and he works in informatics now. So he gets to actually work from home, which is nice.
Beautiful.
So he doesn't have to commute, but he still goes in.
Was he doing the informatics during COVID as well?
That's when he got let
in.
go for a little while.
Oh.
And so then he went back to the floor and then he got his
see.
informatics job back. Yep.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
And then he still works on the floor. He tries to do at least one day a month just for.
And this whole time you're raising the family.
Yep.
You're in the home.
Yep.
And you said the farm isn't our career, but geez, it sounds like raising a family and a farm, right? Has been your. You say our. I'm sure everybody helps,
Yep.
but I'll bet you're doing most of the work.
Canning and trying to
doing all the
weed the
lifting.
garden.
That's amazing. That is
It's
absolutely
full.
amazing.
Yep. We enjoy winter too when you get a little respite. You're planning and doing different stuff, but we're really full in the summer.
And so from the start, did you say to yourself, I mean, what was the idea? We're going to be sustainable. We're going to hedge against.
We were just going to have land so the kids could play and roam and have some chickens and eat their eggs.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
and then you had more. And so when did it become Love Bug Farm, the commercial enterprise?
Okay.
Where did that idea? So it wasn't the idea from the start.
No.
Where did that start? Where did that?
So we actually got invited to a friend's farm that we're having a few farmers markets, and my son really loves to bake. So this lovely lady just said, you know what? You should get your cottage food license. Go online, do it yourself, and then bake, and then you could sell your goods. And so that's what he did when he was 12.
Oh, wow.
And so he sold baked goods. So I love to make our own chapstick and hand lotion and different things like that. So I was like, well, I'll just toss my stuff in for fun. So the girls and I did that. So we just did 2 farmers markets last year, and one of the vendors next to us said, you should really check out the Moorhead Farmers Market.
Uh-huh.
And so I said, okay. And then I went online, and there was one Tuesday left, and you had to do all this tax paperwork and all these forms. And I was like, I can't do that right now for 1 week, way over my head. So then we just kept talking about it more and more. My son really wanted to do that. So we said, and it's the summer, we'll look at it. And then Zach and I had been looking for at least 2 years at the freeze dryers. And so we finally broke down in January and purchased one just to make it easier on our freezer space, because Isaac was born in February.
Uh-huh.
So we could freeze dry our pumpkin or our chicken broth or tomatoes. And I had been canning, but I had a couple failed jars. So I was really frustrated at that. If I freeze dried this, it wouldn't have been wasted. And then just a space thing and another way to preserve food. So then once we got it, the boys were like, let's make candy, because that's a big thing right now, freeze dried candy.
Yeah.
So we decided, why not? That'd be fun. Let's make a business the month after we had Isaac.
Oh my
goodness. And so it's our freeze-dried candy and fruit that we do. I got into soap making as a creative outlet. So I love to watercolor, but just being pregnant and having a baby, that just is a little more time constraint in a different way. But making soap is still creative, and I have a lot of fun doing that. So that's kind of my creative outlet right now.
Okay.
So,
okay. When I think of making soap, all I can think of is Fight Club.
Right.
Have you ever seen that? Of course, I'm a
time
man.
ago.
But you're not doing anything. Where are you getting the fat from?
I use coconut oil from Costco, and that's mainly the main fat I use. And then
neat.
I did want to try a lard one that I actually got from one of the vendors at the Moorhead Farmers Market.
Yeah. That's very cool. And then do you make one without perfume and stuff? Hypoallergenic at all? Or?
I only use essential oils.
Oh.
So they're all, and no colored dyes. So they're all natural clays. One of them I ground up nettle leaves. So I'm only making stuff that I would use, and I can't handle really perfumey scented things.
Yes.
I'm allergic to that. So
Okay.
I was kind of like, well, I'll make it for fun. If I don't sell it, I know we'll use it eventually. And the kids really, really love it. One of the first ones I made was a chocolate peppermint one. So it's a sea salt one. And the kids are like, this is my favorite. So each kid has
So when did you start going to market?
We just started this year.
Yeah,
at
so
the Moorhead.
about 6 months. And are you going, is it
the Moorhead Farmers Market is every week. So we've actually only done 2 because of rain.
Oh.
And we took last week off because it was my birthday.
Oh,
so I
happy
was
birthday.
like, can we stay home?
I didn't know that. When's your birthday?
25th.
Okay, 20th.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We had
happy birthday to you.
4 birthdays in June at our house
okay.
too. I mean, and it's the kids and I load up the van and we are full to the plum for the market. We have our canopy, we have our 3 tables, our setup, 6 kids in a minivan.
It's amazing.
My one son has like a 2x4 by his
Toyota
head.
that you came in here with, that one right there. That's
everything
cool.
holds
That's amazing.
all our product that we sell.
And then does that pull a trailer? Do you have a hitch on that or?
No, we just put everything in the van.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, we're like smushed.
I thought you were saying you had a trailer.
That's a goal.
Oh,
That's
okay. We haven't
a
gotten that
business
yet.
goal is
I
to
see.
be able to get a trailer, like an enclosed trailer.
Very good.
So that we can pull it up, unload it, and not be like smushed. I was like, well, we can go to the library quick before market, but you have to hold the books at your feet, so you might only get 5 books this week instead of 10, because otherwise.
Well, that is a heck of a story.
Yep.
I think probably going to inspire anybody who's heard it. I think I might now be able to talk my wife into getting ducks. So we'll see how that works out.
Just check with the city. I don't know what the rules are, on ducks in the city.
Rather than our usual intermission, and we're getting long on time, but we have to. It has to happen. We're going to listen to Chicken Attack because you got that like stuck in my head just talking about all those chickens. So we are going to listen to Chicken Attack, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the very fun thing it is you guys do every other Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. Every single Tuesday.
Every single Tuesday.
We're going to go to that. Don't go nowhere.